So, also, ja, herzlich willkommen. Okay, better in English, I guess. Very good. Very good. The presentation is in English. Anyway, so yeah, welcome to the second day of BCB with a lot of interesting talks around the topic of Agave and our Agave embassy. Thank you all for being here today and willing to learn. I hope you had a good day yesterday and could visit some seminars already. We start today with a very interesting presentation because I think, well, usually what we do a lot of workshops as well, but it's kind of like knowledge one-to-one, but we have got a lot of bartenders here, I hope. And what was always kind of like missing a little bit, so that's why we're really glad that our friends from Schwarze Schaf and Bamberg are here, is the versatility in agave cocktails. So how can you really mix them, and what tastes good or might actually just not be a perfect fit, although the spirit is a good spirit. Um, and I think from the learning perspective, this is a very, very interesting workshop because it's one-on-one. Yeah? Schwarze Schaf Bamberg, one of the most renowned bars in Germany, with Alina, newcomer of the year last year. Sven, host of the year last year. For us, they're always the superheroes. Hence, I hand you over the mic, and they will speak about asset, creativity behind Agave Spirits in a modern bar world. The voice is yours now and ready to perform. Thank you, guys.
Alrighty. Since Gannon already introduced us super nicely, I think we're gonna skip that part. Obviously, this is Sven. I'm Alina. Do we have like
Alina.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, super. I'm gonna give you a quick run through what we're gonna talk about today. So first, I'm gonna do a short introduction of the bar so that you kind of get the idea why we are here. Then we talk about differences in quality in agave spirit, because that does make a difference. You're going to see that in a second. Then we will talk about different agave species, so agave types and the flavors. And then another huge topic will be mezcal as a modifier. So what can we do with small amounts of mezcal? And in the end, we're going to have a little outlook in the future. So what's going to happen in the future in the agave industry, and how is that going to impact us as people who work with agave spirits and cocktails? Awesome. So I think we're going to skip that since Gannon already introduced us, and I think a lot of people here already know us, so we're cool with that. Okay. So this is the bar we're from. It's in German. It's called Das Schwarze Schaf. I'm gonna talk about it in English, so the black sheep, because I think it's just easier for everyone to understand and the flow is nicer. So the bar was founded in 2012. So it's been running for 13 years now, which is quite some time, I think, for a bar in Germany. And we're located in the south, so about 2 hours north of Munich. So if you're in the area, come visit us. And we started focusing on agave spirits in 2021. And in 2024, we launched a whole menu based on Mexican spirits. So not only mezcal and tequila, but also Mexican rum, Sotol, Raicilla, Posh, for example. And so one part of our philosophy when we're working with these spirits is that we only work with spirits where we question the background. So we usually know where the spirits are from, who is producing them, what are the working conditions. And especially in tequila, we put an emphasis on working with products that that don't add any additives to their products, and also don't use diffusers to extract the sugars from the agave. If you want to know more about that, there's a bunch of people around here that are way better informed about that than we are. Our expertise is the cocktail part, so you go and talk to these guys. Still, I think it's super important that we educate ourselves and also our staff and our guests, our clients, depending what field we're working in. And one of the tools that we choose to do that is we take classics or renowned cocktails like a Paloma or a Margarita and redo them in our own style. So this is one example that we used. This is a Paloma, and Sven is gonna talk you through how we're gonna talk about differences in quality with this drink.
Hi, I'm Sven, and we're doing a little experiment today. I think everybody knows what a Paloma is, right? So basically, it's a portion of tequila, 4 or 5 cl. You may have some fresh lime if you are that bar, which is good. Then you have some kind of grapefruit soda. And the reason why I want to showcase what we do with this drink, because it's like super easy, super approachable. And when I was the first time at Athens Bar Show, I was hanging around Barro Negro, one of the most, like in Europe, the most renowned cocktail bar for Agave Spirits. I was doing a guest shift in the Mezcaleria. That's why all the Germans who were there knew that I had like connections to them. And like after 2 days in Athens, everybody was coming to me, it's like, Sven, do you know why the Paloma in Barro Negro tastes better than anywhere we have been in Athens? It was the year of the Paloma, everybody was drinking Paloma. And I was like, I don't know, I can ask. I was like, maybe it's the mixer, because they all used these 3 cents we didn't have in Germany at the time. Then I asked at Barro Negro, and they were like, yeah, we use an ocho in our Paloma. And I was like, okay, yeah, perfect. That's why it tastes so good. And what do we want to highlight today is if you do a slight change in quality in your base spirit, the drink will hopefully taste Champions League and not second or third tier in the league. I don't know, now the tasting sample should come. If not, I talk a little bit more. So what you want to get, what you do get now is 2 different types of Palomas. One is with a tequila we find really good, and one is an unknown brand I don't want to tell you, but it's 100% agave, which is used in a lot of bars in Germany as a pouring spirit. That's why I used it. Yes? And the idea is you have 2 glasses in front of you. They should come any minute. And one has a little toothpick in it. That's the one you taste the first. So every time you get drinks from us, the one with the toothpick, you please taste first, then take a sip of water, and then taste the second one, right? If you have any questions, just tell us. Now, just to be transparent, the ratio we'll get is the portion of tequila is, because the small sample is 2 cl of tequila, and then fill up with grapefruit, no lime, because it's easier that way. Usually we would do it differently, of course. Okay. I know, of course, because I need the samples.
If you want to, we can skip to the flavor real quick.
We do that flavor real quick.
So if you guys want to, you can just scan the QR code real quick. I thought that it might come in handy if we taste Agave Spirits and try cocktails. It might be a little bit easier to have a little visual help, since Agave Spirits are really versatile in their taste. And I think a lot of people, it's a unknown taste, so a lot of people, it's not nothing we're super familiar with. So I think that might be helpful later when we analyze drinks, because we're going to do the Paloma now, and then we have 2 more samples for you guys. And yeah, so
What's really important too is like if you have a whole back bar of Agave Spirits like we do, it's super important that your staff and you are like educated because you have kind of a whole weaponry behind the bar which you can like alter classic drinks with a different flavor just with the bottles you have. So it's really easy to change one spirit in your cocktail and then have a whole different flavor arsenal, which is really beautiful. So what we do in the bar, we have like all the menu drinks are pre-batched, so we're really fast when people order. But then we have the time to talk to guests who are really interested in our spirit selection or a mezcal selection. And then we can offer them a real nice drink with just like a tiny change in the base spirit and have a whole different flavor profile, which I think a lot of people who visit us really enjoy. So we're happy for everybody who orders an espresso martini, because then we have time for the guests who are really into the agave spirits. Yeah. Still no drinks. If you have questions, ask. Back to the Paloma. What we do in the bar, I can tell you now because we have the time. We do our own grapefruit soda. Why? Because it's an easy drink everybody can make in every cafe. And we wanted to do what she said, our sharp style classics. So we do a centrifuged grapefruit cordial, which is then clear, has a little bit of beetroot, just 1%, so it's glowing, so it's really pink. Because a pink grapefruit is usually not pink, but if you add a little bit of beetroot, it gets really pink. We always do a salt rim because I love salt rims, but we do a dry salt rim, so we don't use limes to coat the glass. We just use a frozen glass, and then because of the water and the frozen glass, the ice just sticks. So now the samples are here, which is really beautiful. Then we can talk about what you want to talk about. So again, with the toothpick, that's the one you drink first, please. Just have a sip. It's just a Paloma. Again, ratio is 2 cl of tequila, both 100% agave, and just filled up with Thomas Henry grapefruit soda, because I think it's the soda you usually would have in a German cocktail bar when it's regarding grapefruit or Paloma drinks. Everybody set?
More or less, I'm bringing more.
Okay.
But you can continue.
Okay, perfect. So just drink. It's an experiment. I have to see your reactions. It's like in a bar when you give the first drink, I just watch if you like it or not. How's the first one?
Much better.
Hmm?
Much better.
Much better than the second one, right? Who does like the second one? Just like hands if you like the second one. Yeah. Anybody likes the second one? No. Good. Worked. Okay. Who likes the first one? Who doesn't like any of the two? Okay, perfect. So the first one is the winner, right? The first one is a beautiful tequila called Calle 23. I just made it for like the German scene because I don't know international price, of course. But the Calle is 22.45 when I ordered it from my distributor, which makes a portion in the drink if you use 5 cl from €1.60. The other one, which you didn't like, is 70.50. So it's just €5 different, which makes in a Paloma 35 cents. My question is, why would you, and I own the bar, so I have to pay the bills. Why would you use that one if you can use that one? That's my question. Because, of course, we have to be price sensitive because we have to earn money, but I think the quality is so superior that the price doesn't matter anymore. And what we learned, that's why I wanted to highlight that, is when you talk to a lot of, like, I can just speak for the German scene, when we talk to guys about 100% agave tequilas, that's the only thing that matters for them. So yeah, we have 100% agave tequila in the pouring. But then I asked, did you like blind taste it? And they're looking at me like, did you know how they produce it? Do you know what kind of extraction method they use? Do you know if they use ripe agaves? And oftentimes they say, what are you talking about? And that's why we do that. And that's just an example. We don't prove with that product. We don't get money from that product. It's just what I think is really easy to find in Germany. And it's relatively cheap to work with, and it's really nice. Any questions to the Paloma? Perfect. I don't know how far we are with the second drink, but we're talking about species a little bit, and then the second drink comes. So, what's interesting about agave, of course, when you work with agave, we have a lot of variety in agave. If you have tequila, you just have one agave, of course. So that's why the tequila part is over now, not because it's not interesting, but it's a too deep dive now for the talk, so we go on to mezcal now. There are more than 50 species approved for the mezcal production, but the mostly used is espadín. Espadín is the mother agave of Tequiliniana agave, so the mother agave of the Blue River agave. That's why it's really similar in the process, in the time they grow in the earth. And 90% is in Oaxaca. What's important with agave, we will see that in the next drink, fermentation plays a role. So what kind of wild yeasts are around, how long is the agave in the earth, which other plants grew around the agave, which terroir helps to produce flavor in the agave, and how the agave is produced. We usually talk just about the artisanal products, not the industrial products, so, but still how it affects the taste, of course, how you extract the agave. But again, there are a lot of people who can tell you more about that. It's just like we want to just show them and talk about it. If you have questions, you can ask us later. Or you ask Manu or Gernot, they know a lot more about it than we do. The next drink is one of our signature drinks. We invented that one during COVID because we did bottle cocktails for home consumption. When in Germany, bars were closed for a few months at a time. And what I did when I created the drink was I talked to Gernot, because Gernot is a friend of mine, and he was like, can I support you in any way? And I was like, I don't know, we could do a collab on doing a bottle drink. So he sent me some bottles of mezcal San Cosme, and I was like, I had a lot of spare time on hand, so I did a deep dive in how San Cosme tastes for me. And then I wanted to create a margarita twist, which you can bottle because you don't need fresh juices, which you can keep at home in your refrigerator and enjoy whenever you want. And what we did 3.5 cls of mezcal San Cosme, a healthy portion of black currant juice, which is really famous in Germany as a schorle. So you have it when you want to drink like non-alcoholic and not a Coca-Cola, you drink black currant and soda water, or apple juice and soda water. So it's a taste everybody knows in Germany, which is oftentimes important in our thinking because nobody knows mezcal. So you have to combine it sometimes with flavors people love, so it's easier to sell. Then we used hibiscus tea, which is also really a Mexican thing, but everybody in Germany knows the flavor because in every tea for little children, when it's a fruit tea, 50% of the ingredients is hibiscus. Nobody knows that, but if you taste the drink, you are reminded of something you know, but you don't know what it is. And then simple syrup, patient bitters, saline. The black currant juice is 100%, so there's no sugar added. It comes in a vacuum, so it's really acidic. That's why it works as a lime juice, instead of lime juice. What I want to show you now, that drink is purposely, I did that to highlight the flavors of mezcal and Cosme and earn money in a time when it was hard to earn money. So it's a really approachable drink, and it showcases the flavors of San Cosme, which is for me earthy, fruity, and smoky, but in a really good balance. And we will again give you 2 samples, one with the original recipe of San Cosme, and in one we used agave, which we really love. It's a Salmiana agave from San Luis Potosí, which is one of my favorite mezcals in the world. But again, please try first the one with the toothpick and then the other one. I hope it's diluted enough, if not, just stir with your finger as Gary Regan would do. Thank you, Angie. Again, still in the bar, we still have it in our signature menu since 4 or 5 years now. It's one of our top seller in the agave category. Usually in the bar, we'd take a portion of 12 CL per batch, shake it, garnish it with a lemon if you, a lime if you want. But it works anyway. Let's do the X now, honestly. That was the second one, right?
This one first.
So the first one is yeah, very contrast, yeah. So the first one, the inspiration was the Mezcal San Cosmo, and the second one we just used a different agave, and we just put one out of the shelf. We love, but it didn't work at all, right? Who likes number 2? Who likes number 1? There's some people who doesn't like anything. Perfect. So number 1 is Mezcal San Cosmo. Falsche. So, first one is Mezcal San Cosmo. So that's the drink was based on Mezcal San Cosmo, which highlights, in my opinion, the flavor of San Cosme. It's still a margarita. It's sweet sour. It's approachable. The mezcal is integrated and works really well. The second one is one of my favorite mezcals. It's from Derubes, San Luis Potosí, Salmiana agave, and it doesn't work at all. So when we tried it, her thing was like, oh, it tastes like it smells like old garbage, organic garbage. But again, we love the mezcal. The mezcal is great. That doesn't work in that drink. That's what we say. So the importance of agave is you taste the agave, you think about what flavors you want to highlight, and then you use it in the drink. What sometimes frustrates me, I talk to professionals in our field, and it's like, yeah, we use whatever is available, and I think our guests deserve better drinks. So a little bit of just 5 minutes, put it in a glass, smell it, taste it, does it work, does it not work? Good idea, because sometimes you go to guest shifts and there's a different product, and then you try your drink and it doesn't work at all because spirits are different. And agave is one of the most versatile spirit there is in the world, so you can't just we use one mezcal in the bar. Maybe it's good to have 5 or 6 mezcals. You don't have to have 80 bottles like we do, but it's really important if you want to do different flavors and different drinks to have an arsenal of good, different agave species. Also important, ABV. How much alcohol content has your agave? How you want to execute it. For example, in this drink, Mezcal San Cosme is lower ABV, and the drink should be approachable. So the low ABV is in this drink is not bad. But sometimes in bars we say, oh, more alcohol is better. But sometimes guests tend to favor drinks that are lower ABV. Also, something to think about. So again, that mezcal is awesome. We love it. We will show you later.
So, as Sven just said, this is a good product, but it does not taste good in the drink you just got. So, our idea was to not have this one sitting here and everybody's thinking badly of it. We're going to do a Negroni with it. And we're going to do one Negroni with this mezcal, and we're going to do another Negroni with another agave, Matriquiche from Break Pero. And just for explanation, I think a Negroni is a classic cocktail that everybody knows. Everybody had a Negroni before, a classic Negroni, and we do ours equal parts, so the balance is even. And I hope that the samples are gonna come soon. Soon-ish. Super. Awesome. And it would be super cool if you could try both samples and then think about what you taste. So what flavors do you detect? Maybe take your flavor wheel and look at it if you can't grasp it in your mind at first, and then we can talk about a little bit about what flavors you can find in the two Negronis. Are there any questions so far? Does anybody want to ask anything? Okay.
The idea behind the Negroni, we sell a lot of Negronis, and I think it's easy to introduce mezcal or agave spirits to regulars who used to love classic drinks, because often they are willing to try, and if you know the drink already, they can compare it in their mind with like the gin Negroni they had, and sometimes we find that they love the drink with agave more. So again, one people who loves agave more now, it doesn't use gin in the Negroni anymore. Same works, of course, with a martini or all the classic cocktails, and that's like what we love to do with regulars who used to drink like classic drinks. Just switch it up with an agave spirit and see if they like them. And oftentimes, because of the variety of flavors, they are really into it and love to have it. Then again, not just with gin, but sometimes with an agave spirit. And our idea is to sell more agave spirits, so that's why we do it.
You already got it?
So same sweet vermouth, it's Berto Rosso, a party, two different mezcals.
It's like everybody's thinking. So what do you guys think? What is the first one? Let's talk about the one with the toothpick. What is your impression of the one with the toothpick? It's the same as mezcal that we just used in the Frida cocktail, where it did not work at all. Do you think that it works in this drink?
Better. Much better.
So what are the flavors that you can take? What does it taste like for you? Everybody's a little bit shy. Okay. So for us,
First one's balancing, it's about sweetness. Yeah, check. First one is more like balancing, smoother, sweeter, and also like the second one is like more bitter. So it's more about the balance. Also, you have little parts. It's more like the more right here. Okay, sorry for that. So the first one is more like sweeter and much more flavors inside. The second one is much more stronger, bitter, and have the complexity of its.
actually super interesting because we did the same thing in the bar and we asked our bartenders and talked about it. And I mean, we work with these products all the time, so they're well-known products, and I think then you think about them a little bit different than when you try them for a first time. So that's super interesting to get different perspectives. So for us, it was so outstanding that the Samiana Agave Mezcal, you have this really strong taste of bell pepper, which is basically, I think it's unfamiliar in a Negroni. And then you also have this, it's almost like, for us, it's almost like cream cheese. Like, you know, these paprika cream cheese kind of things. That was the first thing that came to our mind. And what's also really interesting to us is this slight aftertaste of coffee you have afterwards. And if we think back to the Frida drink, I think it's such an interesting mezcal and such a nice mezcal to do in a Negroni, but it was absolutely horrible in the Frida. And Madre Quiche, for us, even though the ABV in that mezcal is way higher than in the Samiana one, it almost tastes a little softer, and it's citric and almost floral in our perception. Like flavor is totally personal. And I think here you can see really nicely that the flavor, like the mezcal that you choose, can completely alter the flavor of your drink. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It just can go in a different direction.
Like the Samiano one, I did it for somebody who was with me in Mexico, and he was like, I'm in for a Negroni with mezcal, and I choose Samiana, and he was like, ask me, how, how did you introduce coffee to the drink? And I was like, there's no coffee in the drink, and that's the interesting flavor. Everybody gets different flavors. Like I have the coffee just in the background. He had it like, yeah, it's full blown coffee Negroni. I got the cream cheese bell pepper. That's my taste. And the second one with madripish, we found it. It was really floral, but I think you will tell what he actually wanted to do.
Actually, our initial plan was we weren't planning on using the mantequilla at first. We were actually using Jabali agave, and we're at the bar trying different things, and we're like, oh, this is really nice. It's super fruity, almost tastes like mango. Awesome, let's do this. And the bottle we had in the back shelf was almost empty, so we just ordered a new one. And Sven came back to the bar a couple of days later, opened a new bottle, wanted to batch the Negroni for the session here, and just wrote me a message, was like, well, shit, this does not taste good at all. So why is that? We're working with wild agaves here. So there aren't agaves that are harvested on the fields, but they grow wherever they want to grow, wherever they find the space that they can grow. And as Sven explained earlier, terroir, the surroundings, all these things matter in the outcome of the distillate. So especially when working with wild agaves, you have to be aware that you have to try every bottle you open before you use it in a drink. That being said, you should unfortunately not base your cocktail menu on on mezcals that are made from wild agaves, because there's just no consistency, because there can't be any consistent flavor if you take all these things into consideration.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's a batch. We have.
Same brand, different batch.
Yeah, we had a batch. The batch we had was August 2020 distilled, 696 bottles. I had bought 6 of them, but they vanished. And then I bought the new batch. I didn't know it was a new batch. I just ordered it. The new batch came, and I opened the bottle, and I was like, okay, fuck, that tastes completely different. It still tastes good, but it didn't work in our favor in what we want to tell you here. Um, then yeah, it's hard. That's why we talked about we don't use it in this one, because it's just 600 bottles. We don't use it in a signature drink. We use it in an off menu if somebody wants a recommendation. So the new batch is from September 2022. Different ABV, different vintage, different tastes. It's like wine, for example. Like wine tastes different every vintage. That's what you have to have in mind if you use wild agaves. Like Jabalí needs 16 years to grow in the earth. 16 years. So there's a lot of terroir, and then you have to you don't have it in the field, so you harvest it wherever you find a ripe one. So that's also the environment where it grows. Our what in my mind I was thinking maybe there was like a mango tree near, so maybe the wild yeast was like picking up the mango. I don't know why it tastes like mango, but the next one did taste like mango. So we had like this cream cheese, and then we had like this mango Negroni, but didn't work with the new one. So that's what I want to tell you. If you use wild agaves, which is really beautiful, you have to taste every new bottle you have. You can check the label. So usually if it's the same batch, it's not a problem. But it's a different batch, then you have to check.
So I think that's where mezcal's modifier comes in handy, because like we said, it's hard to base a cocktail menu on wild agave spirits, because it's basically possible to get the same taste all the time. What you can do though is work with small amounts. So if you buy a bottle, 2, 3, and you do drinks that only need a small amount of mezcal, that works really nicely. And I think we just realized, or we just, we just found out that mezcal is a product or is a spirit that's really packed with flavor and with so many flavors. So small amounts can actually go a long way. It's almost a joke when we create new drinks and somebody makes a drink and we're like, yeah, it's nice, but something's missing. And then we just look at each other and we're like, well, let's add some mezcal. And actually, usually that works. And I think one of the points we also was really important for us to show you guys is that mezcal is more than just smoky flavor. I remember back in the days, people told me story that there were bartenders that just used dashes of mezcal to replace Isla whiskey, for example. But I think we evolved so much further than that. We have so many nice different flavors that we can work with nowadays. And I think it's important for us as bartenders to stay curious and explore these flavor profiles. And I think one of my favorite things was we have a mezcal in the bar from a Duranguenses agave, and it has a really strong taste of cheese, but not fresh cheese like the Samiana we just did now. It's more like Parmesan and old cheese, and honestly, by its own, I don't like it. It's one of the only mezcals that I really don't like by itself. But on our mezcal-based menu, we made a martini twist with an olive oil fat wash and dried tomatoes. And it was the same thing there. We did the drink, we were like, okay, this is a nice drink, but something's missing. And then we just added half a CL of the Duranguenses agave mezcal. And the cheesy flavors of the mezcal just pushed the whole drink into a completely different direction and added really, really nice umami notes to it. So that's one of the examples how you can work with wild agaves if you use it in small amounts. And I think it's important for us that we are considerate about agave spirits and that we respect the craft behind it. And Sven is going to talk a little bit about the outlook and what it means to work with agave spirits in the future.
Yeah, so what we try to tell you is you have to educate yourself a little bit, so which is fun because you have to taste the mezcals. There are a lot of around here, so you can taste a little bit here, but if you have bottles in the bar, it's good to check. And sometimes what we like to do is blind taste. If we decide if we use not just agave but any spirit, blind taste it. The important question regarding agave is what you can do with it from Mexico. So we talk about spirits that are produced by families who sometimes often live on the palenque, who make it in small batches, who earn their living with that without being a big brand. And for example, using half a CL or a CL in a drink, maybe if you buy 12 more bottles a year and a few other bars make that, it's maybe a whole batch more for them per year, so it really helps the family out, which is really nice. What sometimes frustrates me is like that when I talk to bartenders, that the quality often stands behind the price, which is nearly impossible for an artisanal product like mezcal to be cheap. So you have to have that in mind. But then again, have in mind, like for example, same applies to fruit brandies in Germany, eau de vie. Maybe use a product which is a little bit more expensive, but is packed full of flavors, so you don't have to use 3 or 4 CL in a drink, but maybe 1 CL is enough. And then the price is not so important anymore because you don't have to use a lot of product to make the drink taste like you want it to taste. And the idea behind that is also, if you buy a product, and if you choose to use it in your menu, maybe do a little bit of a search on Google. Maybe 5 minutes is often enough to see if you help a family out in mezcal or if you help a big brand out. And I'm a small bar, so I like to help small producers. That's what we like to do. So it's nothing against using big products, not at all. But if you can choose and the price point works for you, maybe it's better to use small producers. Then you will have, okay, you can't check the working conditions every time, but there are some articles and there are some info about that. You can, if you can visit in Oaxaca, you will see that there are really artisanal productions, and then you see a lot of big productions, but they also have artisanal at the bottle because they have a small artisanal palenque, but the other stuff, like the stuff they really sell, they just produce in big batches, which is kind of against the idea of mezcal because mezcal is like a batch-based product and works. The agave has to grow for a lot of time in the earth, and you have to kind of respect that. That would be nice. Again, what kind of contradicts my argument is like the sustainability part of it. We all love wild agaves, but the problem is if you harvest too many of them, it's bad for the environment because the agaves do a lot of for the environment in Mexico. They keep the water for other plants surrounding. They're good for the microclimate. They're good for a whole lot of reasons. So again, search for products where you can find some kind of sustainability behind it. For example, if they grow them on a field, how do they treat their agaves? I think there's a label coming out soon, which is the bat-friendly agave, because bats are usually the pollinators of agave. And if you don't harvest every agave, but let 5% like just bloom instead, it's good for the bats and all the other insects and animals who live off the agave. Again, respect the cultural heritage. So mezcal or agave and maize, corn are the two pillar stones of Mexico. And I think it's nice if we kind of like help to preserve that. And if you want to do a mezcal-based menu, maybe try to highlight where it's coming from, who are the people who produce it, who benefits, and have in mind if you use wild agaves, if it's sustainably sourced, can you work with that? Is there a shortage? How are the companies treating their people? There was a big fire in Oaxaca 1.5 years ago, and all the big tequila and mezcal brands were not so much of help. So you can find that in the internet if you want to see it. So there are brands who help the people who work for agave, and there are brands who don't. And if you can find the information, maybe use it. See? That's our beautiful team. And that was our talk. If you have questions, just shoot. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sven, Alina. I think that was a very, very interesting talk about how to use Agave Spirits in the bar. I hope you like the drinks or dislike the drinks. Essen, thank you very much. And they're really working a lot with these products, and as mentioned, it's super diverse. So you cannot just use one for one. They explain it in almost half an hour now, or to 45 minutes. The next topic that we will have is Cristina Heller from Don Fulano, so the essence of tequila. Very interesting as well. Hope to see you soon. If you want to learn more about agaves, so see you in 45 minutes. Thanks.